All right, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to our continuing coverage from Super Bowl 59 through the NFL alumni. I'm Graham Weinstein. We're presented by Pacera, transforming how the world treats pain. Here are two dads from Ohio, Mike Schroeder, Michael Gold, who decided they wanted to get their kids into football as much as they are, and we're with you on that. So they created Future Fans. It's really cool, guys. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man.
Tell everybody what it is.
Yeah, so Future Fans helps little kids become big fans of all kinds of sports, but in particular football. And we do it in a really unique way. We have a storybook-led activity box that introduces kids to the game of football in parallel ways. So think, a beanbag toss game with 4 tries and 6 points at the end, as opposed to trying to explain downs and touchdowns to a 5-year-old.
What is a false start, right?
Yeah, exactly. A lot harder than you think, right? Like as a dad, I came into it thinking my kid was just going to be the biggest fan because I'm a big fan, and then you get into it and you're like, oh my God, I'm making no sense when I try to describe what's going on.
You have the same experience with this?
Absolutely, and there's nothing like connecting with your kids around your own shared passion, but when we try to explain it in direct ways, in ways that would make sense to us, little kids just don't get that, and so we knew that kids learn, they're sponges, right? So we wanted to reimagine how young kids can learn sports like football.
So you had told me previously that the genesis of this was, you're a big Bengals fan. Bengals had a special season a few years ago. You thought this would carry over into your household and they would understand the speciality of it.
And it did not.
And it did not.
It did not. Yeah. That Bengals run a couple years ago was so special and magical. We hadn't won a playoff game in 31 years. And so to be able to go on that run to the Super Bowl, but then be in my own house and my 5-year-old daughter not be interested in what was going on was devastating for me. And we had done this storybook-led chess product that taught in parallel ways. You read in a book about a king who lives in a castle with his chef. All they do all day is eat, and he's so big that king can only move one step at a time. Anyway, my 5-year-old daughter understood chess within 2 weeks and knew what every piece on that board could do. And I'm like, okay, chess is fine, but I care a lot more about sports and football in particular. And so that was kind of the inspiration behind this of, okay, if she can understand chess, there's a better way to teach her football than me teaching her while the game's on.
There's a lot of dads that like chess. There are a lot of dads that like football, right?
Correct. We think there are more dads that like football.
So when you thought about what you wanted to put together, because you had previous success in doing something like this, what came to mind first to try to, how do we bridge the gap of, I want to put something together that's going to be relatable to kids that I can share with them?
Yeah, absolutely. First thing is, how do kids learn? They learn through stories, they learn through games, they learn through dancing and fun. And how can we make it an experience that connects parent and child, right? And so you're reading a physical book, it's a little bit away from screens, and so you're bonding through the experience itself, and then at the end, the cherry on top is then you get to watch football together.
Yeah, it's really cool. So has it worked?
It has worked. I'll start with my own daughter, who I described as a 5-year-old. A year later as a 6-year-old. Obviously, she's been the guinea pig through this. Bengals again making a run to the AFC Championship. I'm set to go to Kansas City to meet my brother.
On her hair, like Joe Burrow yet?
Not that.
Yeah.
But she says, Daddy, please don't go. All I want to do is watch the game with you.
Wow.
I canceled on my brother, who still went. She and I took in what was a heartbreaking loss on our couch together. And at the end of the day, that's what we're selling. Is that connection. That's all. That's if we can do that, then I think we've got something. And again, we just want to bring people together. Like the goal is to bring people together around shared interests. Like there's going to be a time when my daughter's 14, 15, 16, doesn't want to talk to me. But you know what we can talk about? The game this weekend.
That's right.
And that then opens up back the avenues to talk about the other things that she may not want to talk about, but we should.
Shared hatred of the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah. They're kind of sad, more like the Steelers.
So it's interesting. Like, you're targeting what, 4 years of age, somewhere in that neighborhood?
Yeah, kids ages 4 to 8 with a sports fan parent in the house, and that's what we're all about.
It's interesting because I spoke to somebody who was connected to the Boston Red Sox years ago, and he just kind of offhanded said, if you can get a kid to come to Fenway Park once, and by this certain age, they'll be a fan for life. It seems like you guys have this similar mantra of, if we can teach you this now, it will carry over.
Right, 100%. And when we started this, we said, well, how do kids become fans? Like back when we were younger, You know, we kind of slowly learned through osmosis of dad having the game on Sunday or the baseball game on TV. You kind of slowly learned, and that was fine. But today it's different. Kids have a lot more autonomy around what they're consuming. There's more screens in the house, so they're not watching what dad's watching necessarily, and it's kind of a painful process. And like, who knows if they'll be a fan at the end? And so we kind of take that all down to 1 to 2 weeks, help them understand the game, which is the biggest hurdle. And then from there, again, I didn't want to force my daughter into liking football. I wanted her to understand what it was. And I was pretty confident that she'd think it was cool and want to spend time with dad doing it, and that's what we got.
Any rules you haven't figured out yet, how to get across to anybody?
Yeah, not in football. You know, other sports like baseball, icing and hockey is a real challenge. That's a very odd rule that exists in one place, then goes away once you cross the center line. But nothing in football we haven't been able to
All right,
figure
that's
out.
very cool. Guys, thank you so much, and good luck with future fans.
Yeah, thanks,
thank
Brian.
you.